Yeah, you the model, the lawyer, the stewardess. Yeah. You the doctor, the dentist, you doing.
And action.
What's up, B?
What's
How are
up?
you?
How's it going? I am excited to be here, excited to talk to you, and I'm having a good time right now in life. So,
That's awesome. I'm excited that you're talking with me. I know it's been a minute, but I'm glad we can make this happen. Catching
yes,
up.
indeed.
The world is
Yeah,
crazy right now, so thank goodness for technology.
yeah. Technology is uniting everyone everywhere.
This is true. Okay. So for people who are watching and don't know you, I'm gonna give a little bit of an intro. All right, so we have Brandon Greathouse, aka Nobody.
Hey, somebody did their homework.
This guy, man, the list of things that you do. You're a professional dancer. You are a dance teacher. You've been dancing
Yes.
for like 20 plus years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
You
20
can do
plus
it that
years.
way.
You're a DJ. You're a music producer,
Mm-hmm.
right? A gamer. I saw that you were a gamer.
Yes. Oh, yes, and more. Yes.
Also a professional TikToker.
Wow. Is that a thing now?
That's a thing. That's a full blown thing. You are a professional TikToker, and I can brag about that because you've been just shoving TikTok down my throat for the longest time already.
Did you ever make yours?
I did, but there's nothing posted yet.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of funny stuff out there. It's hard for me to like stop and try to make something on my own. But the day that I make a TikTok, I'll send that to you and I'll let you know. Okay, dancer, teacher, music producer, DJ, gamer, TikToker, father of two beautiful girls.
Yes, I think that's my favorite one right there.
And that's your favorite, what your most proudest accomplishment. And also good friend of moi.
Blah, blah, blah. I love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on and chatting with me. In the midst of everything going on, I want a platform to talk to creatives like yourself because everything's kind of like in limbo. So I want to figure out what's going on in your world. Pretty much in a world where you express through events, express through teaching, through group gatherings, through battles, friendships. Tell me what has been like the hardest thing during this pandemic.
Wow. Just hit off with the good ones, huh? Oh, God.
To wake you up a little bit.
The hardest thing so far for me is probably reformatting everything to do it digitally. I am a very interactive person to where I like seeing people and talking to them and being able to just have a good conversation or be able to show them something, be like physically move this arm here or that. Trying to teach classes online, no diss to Zoom, but Zoom classes are not easy to do and live classes are not easy to do either. So the interaction between the teacher and the student is not the same. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve, just try to find out how to connect in a deeper way without actually connecting or digitally connecting. And if somebody knows how to do that, please leave it in the comments, DM me something, because it's not the easiest thing.
I wouldn't think so. And I've seen how some dancers have reverted to online classes and even just the technical difficulties, the sometimes it's glitchy, sometimes it's I don't know. I can't even imagine the comparison between a Zoom class to a live class where you have music, you have energy, you have camaraderie, you have all these things. And one of the biggest hits, I think, during this time, I would think is just the creatives, the dancers, the musicians, the people in entertainment. And I think, if anything, you being such a professional and you've been in the industry for so long, I definitely want to hear how you've been making it work.
It sounds crazy, but I think the time that it's given me has allowed me to grow in so many other ways. I'm almost thankful for it. Like, ooh, wait, I can't teach class, but now I picked up painting and I started learning how to do stuff. I made these bracelets and stuff. And it's I'm doing my clothing line is now there. This is like a mock-up hat, but it's out and rebuilding the website and trying to get everything together on a different front. Like it forced me to shift my creativity somewhere else. And I also got sponsored as a gamer during all this. So even when I'm not creating, I'm creating on the gaming side. So if I'd rather play video games on the digital platforms and share that than I would teach dance. Because teaching dance is, for me, it's more of a connective thing. Like people come together to dance, not separate the dance.
So now you've been getting a little fancy with some apparel, with some jewelry. By the way, you're welcome to send me the samples. Thank you. And also
Will do.
So then within this pandemic, and I think the majority of people are forced to shift and think outside the box and think, okay, what else can be done? So would you say like people who are feeling a bit stuck in this industry, in this space, who are so used to expressing with whatever means that they have, like acting or dancing or something, would you like really, really encourage them to search into something else, to maybe not see it as like this huge loss, but possibly see it as an opportunity to be able to not like cancel out dance, but at the same time add to maybe something that can benefit dance later, or just something different entirely?
I feel like it's a chance for people to, like, for me and a lot of the dance instructors that I know, they put everything into dance because they know dance is what's paying the bills, or dance is what's bringing in the majority of their influence. And with that being on pause, or at least in my situation, with that being on pause, it allowed me to pour into those other creative endeavors that I have and have had for years, but have only been able to do it in part. So like my music creation is like, I got probably 4 or 5 albums ready to go within the time, because instead of just, I can't dance, I'm going to sit back and do nothing. I was like, oh, I can do all the music stuff that I wanted to do, like bam. So I have a project with my boy Bush, Mighty Bush. He's an amazing MC from Sacramento. I did a project with him. I did a project with the guy who started me off rapping. So I have one with him. And then I got my boy, Charles Loeb, AKA Charles Burtell. I got him working. His album is amazing for the R&B lovers, like hands down, one of the best albums I've ever heard. And he's still adding to it. And then I finished one of my albums. And then all of this crazy stuff happened with the marches and the Black Lives Matter movement. And in the process of that, like, I just felt like I had to speak. And instead of trying to just build a platform, I used the platforms that I already had, and I just started speaking into the mic. Like there was a couple of nights where I just heard something, woke up, made a beat, and just did it. And so that album's actually up. It's called Capital Way, and it's just a bunch of the stuff. One or two, maybe 2 of the songs out of the 7 were already done, and I just not released it because I didn't feel the release to release it. Mm-hmm. And the other 5 were created the same week. All the marches and stuff were happening, and I just put it up. And it's weird. The weirdest thing about that is usually if I upload a song, it takes a week to maybe 2 weeks before it goes live. I uploaded the song and it was live within 3 hours. Like it's never happened like that, but I hit upload and then.
And you're just talking about like this, it processes slower normally, but this time it just took 3 hours?
Yeah, it was less than 3 hours. So 2 hours later, it was on Apple Music, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram, to where I can click on it and listen to the song on Instagram. It's called Capital Way by Knowbody. And it's a good little compilation of songs that are dealing with what's happening right now. So it's pretty dope.
Wow. Okay, so you still stay busy, which is amazing. And this is a perfect segue into talking about everything that's happening with Black Lives Matter, with the effect that it has on our communities, the reality of the progress that we've made in this country, even just the government and politics itself. Like it's a lot, and it's not necessarily like, let's jump into that, but just you individually. I know even before we were talking about some of the things that you are doing for your community, because regardless of what side of the spectrum you're on, division is literally what is killing this country. However, no matter the divide, you are making a difference in your community. So I wanted to ask like what that is, because I know there's specifics, and then also what you would suggest people that they can do, because I definitely would always want to encourage the fact that we all have power to do something. We can all do something in the smallest capacity, but we can. We don't just need to sit down and scroll on social media and be overwhelmed by everything that is happening. Like there's things, and maybe it's just a matter of being educated on what to do. So what are some of the things that you've been doing?
For me, when it first popped off, I went out and I was there at the marches. I went to the Capitol. I'm in California, Northern California, the real part of California. So I was at the capital of California where all the legislative stuff happens.
For
Just
sure.
had to put that out there.
This is true. All right,
And
rep in Sacktown. Okay.
yes, 916 all day. So I went and I was there, and this is just like a quick story of how I was able to maneuver there. So I get there and the Black Lives Matter thing is going. There's a young lady on the microphone and she is very knowledgeable and she's like spitting love and she's trying to find the justice that she's seeking. And I'm like, she's dope. I can rock with that.
Yeah.
And then there was another young lady on a megaphone, and she's very emotional and very harsh, and understandably so. But I feel like the people who should be leading it should not be the emotional ones, because the emotional ones will lead you into with their emotions, and your emotions can also lead you wrong very quickly. So there's a balance between wisdom and emotions that I feel like could have been addressed a little better. But regardless, they were out there with a purpose. They got their voices heard. And the people that showed up to the march, it was amazing to see. Like, I seen the homies that dance. I seen a lot of people. And there's a lot of perspectives that I saw, because I went with the intent of being there and supporting and showing love. And when I got there, like, I don't know what it was, but something made me look back at the bigger picture. And yes, what the cop did in Minnesota or wherever these cops have been doing all this injustice, that it was wrong. But I looked at the cops that were standing on the front line, and as the protesters are yelling at them and then screaming in their face, cussing at them, there was one lady there that was kind of drunk, and I could tell she was there, like, in her own hurt, in her own pain, and she was at this cop's face. The cop, you can tell he was a good dude. You know, you can just look at somebody and be like, that's a good dude. So he was there, and she was in his face just yelling at him, like telling him all kind of crazy stuff, like, I hope your kids get sick and die slow death. And I was like, yo, what is that? And then something clicked in my head. It's like, that's not the right way. So I'm shooting, I turn my camera to her as she's spewing this hate to him, and she sees me put the camera on her, and she like, oh, and she jumps back. So that let me know that she knew what she was doing was wrong, and she chilled. But as I'm walking and I'm looking at all these officers, I'm looking, and these are officers that were standing ridiculously disciplined, taking a lot of the blunt heat or they were standing as the person to be ridiculed because of the actions of some other cops. Like, they didn't have anything to do with that. They weren't in those situations, but they had to stand there and take the pressure from the people who needed a release. And whoever talked to them before, I can almost undoubtedly see that they gave them great direction on how to handle it, because they didn't say anything, they just took it. I'm like, that's hard to bear. And they took it with discipline. They took it with, like, straight to the thing. They're getting hit with water bottles and just take it. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And then we started marching, and it was good while they're walking through the streets. It was good, but the random people just destroying stuff. Like, the march is peaceful. We're walking through the streets of the city that we love, and random people, like, I got a couple of videos. Somebody spray painting Black Lives Matter. It wasn't the Black Lives Matter people. It was some random dudes just jumped out, started spray painting. I'm like, who are you? And I videotape them, then they run away. And then we stop, and there's like some lady trying to rip down a sign. They're like, stop it. What are you doing? That's not what we're here for. It's not the move. And then she comes down and walks away. And then later on, you see her in the march, like, chanting, say his name. Now you're leading the chants, but you were just, like, trying to tear down the city. Like, there's a lot of people in the movement that weren't for the movement, and I got to see both sides.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah, but out of the 2,000 people that were out marching, I would say maybe 30 the whole day were not really with the right energy. So that little 30 out of the 2,000, it was the reason why stuff was kind of shifting. So, like, there's a lot of other things that happened. Like, when they were in front of the police station, They're down there. We're in front of the police station. I got a couple of the homies that I linked up with because I went down there by myself. And maybe 3 or 4 black kids, dreadlocks, young, super young, like laughing and playing. And they throw a water bottle and they run and laugh. And then the people running is like, stop throwing ish. Stop throwing stuff. And they laugh, go somewhere else, throw another water bottle, laugh, go somewhere else. And the police, you know how they're like, the police are shooting people with rubber bullets. They were, but they were shooting the people that were throwing stuff. They were very strategic with it. They were like, he threw the water bottle, pop. They shot into the crowd, but they only hit the dude that threw the water bottle. Huh?
You saw that happening.
Yeah, I'm there live. And I'm like, they're not just out here shooting random people. Some people are making it seem like that. Like, oh, he shot me because you were throwing water bottles at the police. Chill. And then the later it got, the less control they had over the couple of people that was wilding out. And they started lighting stuff on fire, trying to throw it at the police. And then I grabbed my homies like, hey, it's time to roll because it's about to turn. As soon as we walk around the corner, you hear the and the tear gas comes out. All the people come running around the corner. I'm thinking, okay, they understand what's going on. They come around the corner laughing, like they're tear gassing, ha, 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 ha. And that's when I realized that day for the march was, okay, it's time for me to go home because they're laughing at the police tear gassing people. Like, it's not a movie. It's not a game. Stop playing. And as we walk by, some guys try to break into a shop. This is before the looting started. It was like, hey, and they're trying to break a window. I'm like, hey, bro, that's not the move. That's not what we're here for. He throw the water bottle. And he's like, I'm trying to come up. I was like, that's not what we're here for. He's like, I'm just trying to come up. And literally, this is the shop wall. And then there's a corner. Mm-hmm. Right around that corner, a row of police officers on bikes. And I'm like, hey, tell your homie to stop because the cops they're right here around the corner. Like, front of the shop, a bunch of cops on the other side of the wall. And
but he said nothing about the cause, the justice, the freedom.
I'm trying to come up.
I'm trying to come up. All right.
Because Kicks Unlimited was like a really big shoe store in Sac. But the come up wasn't really a come up because Kicks Unlimited is a consignment store. So the people you're stealing the shoes from are the same people that are probably at the march. Like, I take my pair of shoe and I put it in the store. And when they sell, they take a cut and they give me the money. So you just stole a bunch of shoes from the people that are in your city, not from a store. But it is what it is. Like, after seeing that, I started asking myself, okay, these marches are going to happen. And the next day, all the looting happened. And like everything got hit. And I was like, this makes me sad because they literally destroyed downtown. And before I could even get up to go do anything, people were out in the street cleaning it up. Like, before 3 o'clock the next day, not the city, volunteers like my boy Veer and a bunch of other people just took it upon themselves to go downtown, clean up the glass, clean up the graffiti, clean up the shops that are messed up, and they cleaned the city. And I'm like, yo, that's freaking dope. And the next day they did it again, and the next day they did it again. And I collected some supplies and stuff and went and did it with them. I went to go do it with them, but it was already done. So I was like, okay, where can I be more useful? So I got some water bottles and stuff and went to go supply people water bottles that are marching and just talking to people like, okay, we march, we get their attention, then what?
Yeah.
And that's where I've been. I'm like, then what? What's the next move? What are we going to do after we get their attention and they want to talk to end all of this?
See, and that is the question. That's the question right there that should be with everyone who decides to go out on these marches. And I know not everybody has the genuine intention of like the spirit of what the march is for, but you're asking that question, like, then what? Now what? The march is getting everyone's attention. Okay, great. But now what's the next step? What does that look like?
For me, the next step was we don't have the power to change anything, or we have the power to change anything, but we still have to go through the legislative things. So who is our council members? Who are the people that we can talk to? And I found out who they are. And randomly, with the help of the Atrium, which is the people that are helping me move right now in the creative community, they introduced me to some of the city council members. They introduced me to, it's just a good organization. And they got me to where I'm sitting at the table with them, having these conversations and talking and trying to figure out what's next for the city. And I went on a live and I was just asking people, what do we need to change in order to bring this change? And
Yeah.
one of the things was economically, we need to change things to where it's more balanced. Flip side, the creative economy is like a lot of creative people. It's basically the economy of the creative people inside. Recently, we just had a conversation where they're releasing $20 million into the creative economy within the next 2 or 3 months. And I'm sitting on
$20 million. You said 20 million.
Yes.
Okay, $20 million within the creative community of Sacramento.
Yes.
Okay.
Last year it was 2.2 million.
And the 2.2, and now it's 20.
Yes. So in order for while we're at these meetings, we're advocating for it, and we're like, hey, can the money not go to organizations that, one, don't need it, two, aren't helping people of color, three, are not there, because the money's supposed to go to organizations that are helping in the community. A lot of the times the money goes to organizations that the council people know because they don't know the organizations that are helping in the community. So me as a creative person and as a professional TikToker is
valid.
I'm bridging the gap between the companies that are doing stuff and the organizations that are doing stuff, and the artists that are doing stuff that are actually helping in the community, and the city council members and the city council people and the committees that are trying to get this money into the right people's hands. That was step one for moving forward. Another thing was trying to find justice for the police department. Like when this one threw me for a loop. They were like, abolish the police department. I was like, huh? But learning what that means, like when they abolished slavery, they didn't really abolish it, they just reformatted it. So with the police department, they're going to abolish the police department. They're basically going to reformat it and take the jobs of like policing the homeless and like drug addicts and the stuff that the police shouldn't be handling because they're social issues, not really like criminal issues, and taking those issues away from the police department and giving the money that was given to the police department to other people who are better qualified to handle that. So that, once I got the definition, I was like, that's good. But when you first hear the term abolish the police department, you're just like, nah, homie.
Like, I need
that don't
them.
sound right.
Who am I going to call when I got a burglar, the knife at my throat?
Yeah.
So that's a good point to bring up, to clarify what that means, and you do due diligence to even figure out what that means. And that's awesome. So you got to sit down with people who have the power to change things in your community so that you can kind of shift and bridge the gap, like you said. Bridge the gap so that the businesses like yours, such as yourself, they're able to funnel some of that support and some of that income so that you can further building up your community with a positive thing, like teaching the youth, that mentoring them. Okay, so then if you had to suggest anything, if there was something that you wanted to encourage, I bet even with this video, you're going to have a lot of your students watching, you're going to have a lot of people just looking for different outlets. Like, what do you want them to know? Like, what do you want to tell them? To research who is their city council, to research meetings that they can attend in terms of like the budgeting is going within their communities and their different sectors. Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that you do have access to these people. Their emails and everything are public, and you can literally directly send stuff to them. Businesses and corporations have people who basically advocate for them. They're like, hey, I'm going to pay you this amount of money. You just stay in their face to make sure we get what we want. What I learned recently is us as a people can literally just bombard them with emails and calls saying, hey, we need that money to go towards the things that are happening in the hood, or we need that money to go towards local small businesses, not these big corporations that really don't need it but are sucking it up. And if you don't say something, they don't know you exist because they're not searching for these businesses. All they are doing is putting it out like, hey, we have this money. And a company that's in Sacramento right now that has gotten a lot from the grants and stuff is a company called the Sacramento Ballet. The Sacramento Ballet is huge. Everybody knows who they are. So when they think of the arts, they think Sacramento Ballet. At first, I was upset that they're getting all the money. And then I realized they're getting the money because they're at the table talking. They're getting the money because they know who they are. If they don't know who we are, it's kind of our fault for not making that known to them.
That's good.
So
So take action, pretty much.
yes, find out who you can talk to them. They're not like they're not mean, evil, they're not really trying, they're actually regular people. They're trying to just do stuff good for the city. And
Mhm.
if you're doing something good in the city, talk to them. And you'll be surprised, like a lot of when I'm on the call with these people, it is like it's very encouraging, like man, they are really wanting to do it the right way. They're really wanting to get the money to the right people, but they have to jump through hoops. And if you're not at the table saying, hey, send the money to these type of organizations, they have to give it to who's speaking the loudest.
That's so good.
So speak up, find out who you can call, send an email. Emails work, which is crazy. Send an email, say, hey, I'm whatever, this is what I
But
do.
don't even send
And
I definitely send the email, sure, but follow it up. Like do something now, especially it's like you said, high passion and voices are being heard and everything is just escalated at this time. And especially people in those positions, you sat with them, you talked to them, you called them or whatever. And you're saying yourself, these are regular people. They want to hear from the average Joe in their community so that they can be funded, so that they can be supported.
yeah,
You
I
don't know.
think the only time they hear from the community is when the community is upset and yelling at them about how they're not doing their job. But I feel like the balance of it is they can't do their job to to help a community that they don't know about.
Uh-huh.
And if they know about the community and they don't know how to help, and there's no one advocating for that community to get the help, what do you expect them to do? Just go help? They
Yeah,
have to have some grounds for it.
I think that that's the thing. There's unrealistic expectation, and then it's also maybe just a lack of education, knowing that those steps can be taken.
Yeah.
So, and if there's struggle in that area, like that's where getting more people, making your voices louder by getting a group of your community together. I do believe that it will make a difference. And
Yeah.
you are now testimony of it.
So I'm here. I'm watching it happen. Like I'm literally here. Like they just released a thing called the Cable Commission. Released a new project where they want artists to create educational content, and they're going to pay artists. I think it's $2 a second for content. Like
$2 a second.
yes. So this is how you do a basic arm wave: fingertips, fist, wrist, elbow, shoulder, chest, shoulder, elbow, wrist, fist, fingertips out. $20. All right. Thank you guys for learning from me, and I'll see you later. So if you put a 5-minute piece of content out, it's $600.
Dang, man. So many things that you can do during a lockdown, during crazy marches.
And you can do this stuff at home with a cell phone.
Yeah.
It's better if you have cool lights and stuff, but you don't really need all of that. Go by the sun, get some natural sunlight, and make it happen.
That's awesome. So all this information has been so enlightening, so helpful, and I'm excited. And I really hope this is gonna just like light bulbs into people so that they know what to do, so that there's positive action. Because at the end of the day, nothing's gonna get done if you're fueled by anger, hatred. You take action. There's so much support out there. Do it. Take action. Don't stay still.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dang, I'm pumped. I'm pumped for that. I think I'm going to follow up with you and be like, what else has, like, the progress? What's the progress been?
When you say, when you anger and all that stuff kind of blocks you, it's really true. Like I started purposely spending time, like spreading love, joy, peace. And Victoria knows I went to NAM last year. Was it this year? It was this year's NAM.
This year, yeah.
And you know me, I'm a very like happy person. I go downstairs to play video games at this video game shop, and that's how I got sponsored by the people that were downstairs. And basically, they gave me this thing called the Game Box. It's a one of a kind right now. It's the prototype, and it's sitting in the other room, and it is amazing. It's like a gaming computer that is portable with the TV screen and everything attached to it. And it is so dope. Like I'm playing all my video games on that and streaming and everything from it because it's like a supercomputer.
And now we're in a pandemic and you're somehow sponsored by these gamers when you're quote unquote a dancer.
Yeah. That's because I try to make sure I walk in love. I move with integrity so that if something comes up, like I'm at a higher vibration and I'm not really worried about that. Like it's the doors continue to open because I keep myself in a position that keeps me moving.
That's so good. Now you project all that positivity out into the world, just one person at a time. Very cool. This is why you're my homie, because you keep
Hey.
around. For those that don't know, which is pretty much like everybody, B and I got connected through Groove Gear. Shout out Groove Gear. Through World of Dance event. Shout out World of Dance. And so we've been friends for probably like 3 years now. And dang, I can definitely say I'm inspired by this guy. He low-key mentors me in little things, even though I'm like, shut up about TikTok. I get it. Comes from experience and wisdom in terms of platforms and branding and marketing yourself. He definitely is loyal as heck. So
that's dope. Thank you. I appreciate it. You winning right now. Since we're talking about sponsors and Groove Gear, Victoria is the reason why I got sponsored by Groove Gear. She took a chance on me before I had the following that I needed to have, and I'm grateful for that because that was my first major sponsor, and I am happy to be a part of the Groove Gear family still. I just ordered my decade bag last night.
Oh, snap.
So I'm super excited. Without you, I wouldn't even be into that Groove Gear family. So I appreciate you.
For sure. Well, obviously, I know how to pick them. What can I say?
You just gonna pop your own collar like that?
Well, I'm super excited. I had one more question on here, which is like the projects you're working on. Tell me about some personal stuff. Like for everyone that wants to follow you, what are you working on? You got albums coming out. You were talking about the music that you're producing, that you're making. What else? What's happening?
The albums are actually coming out. Just look up Knowbody, Knowbody, on whatever streaming services. There's a bunch of music up there, and I'm actually working on moving into a new space with the dance studio in Sacramento, California. So if you're in Sacramento, you want to dance, hit me. Let's link. Yeah. And 2, I'm going back to the Czech Republic in August. I'll be out there performing at Festival United again, but this time it'll be a little bit different. It's going to be a live broadcasted version of it. So instead of it being thousands of people, it'll be maybe a smaller crowd, like 100, couple hundred, and they're going to live broadcast it to all of Europe.
And they've never done that before.
They broadcast it normally, but this time it's being broadcasted to as many people as they can because they cannot have the festival the way that they used to due to, what is her name, Corona? Yeah.
Oh, good old Corona. Good old COVID.
Yeah. So, but it is what it is. I'm very thankful for all of the blessings that have been continuing to come in my life. So instead of being slow, I'm pushing myself to be active and to grow more and continue to do stuff. Like I already wanted to go to Europe for the show, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So this year, instead of it being me and my team or me, the DJ and the MCs, it is just me by myself, and I'm gonna put on an hour-long show in Europe. So I've been running every morning while reciting my verses and just like trying to get physically in shape.
You have to. Hey, you're leveling up.
Yeah, I got to, but it also shows me that I can do an hour-long performance by myself. No DJ, no band, no dancers, just me. So if I can achieve that, there's literally nothing that can stop me from being at festivals all over the world, just rocking. Yeah,
so excited. Ready for you to rock it and kill it. And honestly, whatever it is that you have set out, I know you're gonna kill it. Okay, lastly, so that the world can follow you and be inspired, give us all your socials, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of it.
All right, so we'll start off with the most important one, the TikTok.
Of course.
It is Knowbody916, Knowbody 916.
Scroll down his TikTok, you'll see one random video of me at the Groove Live event. Super random.
Yes, if you find that video, comment on it, be like, I saw it from here.
Oh, yeah, leave a comment, and then that way it'll push me towards making an actual TikTok video. Maybe I'll just,
Dun, dun, dun.
but okay,
Gotta
TikTok.
make
What else?
TikTok, Instagram, same thing. Knowbody 916. Facebook, Brandon Knowbody Greathouse, and YouTube Knowbody. So pretty much Nobody's on everything. But more importantly, if y'all watching this video, do me a huge favor. Go on Spotify and play the music, whatever song you like, just play it and keep it on repeat so that, I get my streams up.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, B.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Thank you for taking the time to even interview me,
Thanks for coming on and chatting with me. I'm honestly so stoked for everything. So I think there's going to be a follow-up. Why not?
All right. Yes.
And for everyone that watched, hope you enjoyed. Love it, comment, like it, all that good stuff. All right.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Peace.
Yeah, you the model, the lawyer, the stewardess. You the doctor, the dentist, you do.